Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What a fascinating hearing. I appreciate all of you. I just want to make a comment at the outset in response to my colleague. Let me be clear that all students, including LGBTQI students and trans students, deserve access to and benefit from educational opportunities, including participating in sports. Ms. Van Dyck, you said in your written testimony, and you mentioned this, that 83% of parents believe their children have the talent to earn athletic scholarships. 49% are confident that they will, but in fact, it's only 2%. You have a citation there. I didn't get a chance to look into the details, but I mean, when my now adult son was in elementary school, he wanted to be an NBA player, but so did half of his classmates. I mean, we just don't have height genes in our family. But can you talk a little bit about where that expectation is coming from? Because your next sentence is that the industry's promises of more are puffery at best and deceptive violations of state and federal consumer protection laws at worst.
Thank you for that question. I think it's an incredibly underappreciated consumer protection issue within youth sports, that these organizations, Black Bear is promising exposure to college recruiters. There's an entire company called Perfect Game whose sole purpose, they serve thousands and thousands of athletes and operate in 40 states, and their sole purpose is the promise of expensive exhibition games for college recruiters to go to. Three-step also, it takes about 30 seconds of scanning through these organizations' websites to see these promises, and they can't deliver on them.
It's a fascinating issue. I'd like to follow up on that in the future. You were talking earlier in response to Representative Adams about the Robinson-Patman Act. So looking at the example of Black Bear Sports Group buying up youth hockey rinks across the country and then charging these absurd fees, what would antitrust enforcement look like in that situation, and what would be the benefits to parents of student athletes?
I'll try to be brief, but there are a number of ways to take on this kind of consolidation by private equity. I think the first and most important is banning vertical integration in youth sports. There is absolutely no reason that the CEO of Black Bear Sports, who controls access to venues and owns hockey leagues, should also own the ranking system for those teams and players, and should also serve as a commissioner on a junior hockey league. Those are ridiculous conflicts of interest that allow, for instance, giving preferential treatment for ice time at the only ice rink in town to their teams. It allows them to they can create blackout rules that prohibit competitor leagues from holding events at the same time. That was one of the things that Varsity was doing with—
Sounds like a tremendous amount of power.
Yes, it is an enormous amount of power. So I think that breaking up those companies using our existing laws and creating new laws that prohibit these conflicts of interest would be extraordinary.
Thank you. I also want to talk about the sort of crucial role of schools and infrastructure. So in the district I represent, I have a lot of urban areas. Mr. O'Sullivan's from Oregon, he knows Portland and Beaverton areas, but I also have a lot of very rural areas as well. So even something like school bus drivers, right? If there's a bus that's going to take students somewhere, school bus driver employment is down 10%. What's going to happen for students who are hoping to engage in these extracurricular activities if they don't have that vital transportation, especially in rural areas? Many kids are going to be left out. So do you agree?
I absolutely agree. There is a huge participation gap between low-income and high-income families. Certainly, a parent who has a job where they have to work on the weekend or at nights can't drive their kid to school or might not even to their game and might not even have access to a car. They certainly can't afford to play at expensive out-of-town tournaments at diamond-plated youth sports facilities. So I think it's absolutely right to be thinking about this in that context. And also going back to what Representative Miller talked about early, creating these community-based programs protects family time. So I think I think that this is a bipartisan issue that we all need to
I think so too. Mr. Ferry, you recently stated to the New York Times that there is a great demand for kids to play sports and parents will spend money they don't have. So what sacrifices have you seen parents make to afford all the expenses associated with athletics, registrations, equipment, travel, lodging?
They pay what they have to. We love our kids. We will do just about anything for them, and many of us are under the impression that if our child at age 8 is scoring a bunch of goals, then they might actually have a chance at getting a scholarship or preferential admission to selective universities. This is a big motivator in middle and upper income families as well. So they're presented with a system that is dysfunctional at best and broken at worst, and they're responding to it. They love their kid. I spend very little time blaming parents. There is bad behavior, but like they just love their kids.
I appreciate that. And as I yield back, Mr. Chairman, I want to note that at the end of this month, there's a lot of families in Oregon and across the country who are going to see their healthcare premium skyrocket if we don't take action this week, and I hope we can do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Moylan.